Hello, and welcome to another episode of TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen, episode number 469. Quick bite tonight. What is 0xDegens? We're going to just do a quick shout out to everyone that's joining us via LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Kick, Rumble, and Unlonely. Huge shout out to the Unlonely family. We're going to be doing some more gambling on chess coming up, which will be fun. And then those joining us on Twitter Spaces as well. Always welcome for people to join us on stage and anything like that. We are doing a quick bite tonight. For those that don't know, quick bites are, there's market moves. There's not a whole lot going on in the market, but there's a lot of cool stuff. And it's running out on the night. So some really cool stuff is going on over at Sugartown. That's been on our eye, as well as Shrapnel. Shrapnel had a huge space today. Huge shout out to Doug Hype, AJ Wrights Crypto, and holding that space down today. Really did a good job sort of breaking down what Shrapnel play was like, what the gamer trials are like, and there's a lot of good hype on that. I'm a huge fan of Shrapnel on just sort of like, because it was one of those things where when I learned about it, I was like, "Ooh, this is something nice," and I felt like I was into something that I knew something more than others, and I was like, almost felt like I shouldn't know that this exists yet, and so getting into it early was pretty cool, and seeing how it's grown. So huge shout out to the entire Shrapnel team and everyone building that out and what you got going on there. A lot of cool things moving and going, and I see you. But what is 0xDegens? For those joining us, you know me as Taco. I started up 0xDegens almost 3 years ago, as sort of my flag plant into Web3 full time. I was working, Web 2 job at the time, and I was like, well, I'm really starting to, push the envelope, as I've been in blockchain for over a decade now. And, rather than working for others, why don't I work for myself to work for others, if that makes any sense? And the reason why is because there's so much going on in Web3, I couldn't tie myself to just one project for long. Or it couldn't keep my interest. I'm like, cool, I did the job I was hired to. Now I'm just sort of twiddling my thumbs. And in startups, you wear a ton of hats. Do not get me wrong. But then as you slowly build out a team and everyone sort of, finds their lane within that team, it's a really amazing thing to see and be part of. But if your job is BD and you've gotten all the growth stuff done, then you sort of get bored, and then you try to find out ways to make partnerships and deals that the team might not be ready yet for, the project might not be ready yet for, and so I thought, well, if I'm just doing this as a part-time thing, and why not, and there's so much to learn in Web3 even after a decade. I'm still amazed by how much I don't know, and then what's scary is how much more I know than the people who say they know everything or who are building some of the things that I think are really cool. But that goes to show you don't need to know everything to be building something. And I think there's some beauty to that, and so you hope that a team, gets those people so that they know their own protocol in and out. But as people become experts in their lane, or not even experts, but willing to step forward, I think that that's one of the coolest things. There's so much opportunity in Web3 for people to step forward and do something new. And that's sort of the beauty that I find in blockchain, is that it's never necessarily about well, this is the way we've done it, and this is the way it's going to be. We're in a brand new ball field here. We get to draw the lines on the field, and they may be ziggy-zaggy. They may end up in some weird configurations, but we get to do that. And all while doing it on the forefront of technology. I'm pretty freaking amazed by the amount of people I know and who I know. As in Web 2, I would never know Bill Gates, but I know founders of L1s. I know founders of data protocols and AI protocols that are changing the way everyone looks and talks about and becomes household names. Heck, there's random days where taco is on everyone's mind. Case in point, the last time I made the front page of the New York Times, for a day, everyone that wasn't even in Web3 that read the paper knew who taco was. And that's just sort of funny stuff. Web 2 doesn't have this opportunity. It's so much noise. There's so much crabs in a barrel. The reason why they don't need to put lids on top of barrels that are full of crabs, and to be honest, they can actually put all of those crabs on a big old plank of wood, and they don't have to worry about it. It's because the crabs pull other crabs back in and back down. And in Web 2, that seems to be the tech case time and time again in the tech world. In Web 3, I'm able to push leads and connect people that might never need to be connected, but they're willing to open their door, their house, their heart, and meet with people that it's just sort of crazy and cool. So 0xDegens, I have a long litany of services that I provide that I get admonished for because it can be overbearing. And so I've been thinking about it a lot on how my company will move into the next year. Currently, the spiel is that we help with everything from tokenomics, white papers, pitch decks, teaching projects how to pitch, introductions to VCs and VC DAOs, DAO formation, ruling, tooling, and governance structure. And I will be honest, with a lot of these things, it's just gut and repeating what I've seen and what's worked and what hasn't worked, what people want to see, what they don't want to see, especially on decks. With DAO formation and governance, some of the weirdest DAOs have the best structure that people don't even know that they're a DAO anymore. Everyone uses ENS, Ethereum Naming Service, and no one knows that it's all ran by a DAO because that's how it is. And if you do know it's run by a DAO, hat off to you. What's hilarious with DAOs is people say they work when the votes go their way. They say they're broken when they don't. And that's true sometimes. But what's really cool is it's still by vote. And I think we'll start to see a lot of cool clarity and breakdowns of that in the next year or two, so that it's more concise, more almost quadratic voting in a way, sort of like Gitcoin does. But Robert's Rules of Orders is my cheat sheet, parliamentary procedure for DAO formation, on structure of how proposals need to be made, rules and orders and implementations. In DAO structure, there's some great tools out there, that really help and simplify that piece and make it really easy to implement on-chain or off of chain. And so there's that. Legal formation of DAOs and companies. Um, I work with some amazing attorneys and some amazing projects that help people focus and can do just that. Wear their hats, be expert in their field. So people, my favorite place for companies is the Marshall Islands. So I work with MyDAO. Um, MyDAO has helped a lot of companies incorporate in the Marshall Islands because the Marshall Islands has made it into their legal structure. Um, and for-profit or nonprofit businesses. I work with a law firm that helps set it up in the Virgin Islands with a BVI offshoot. I work with an attorney that helps companies set up in the Seychelles. Doing these things and knowing these people legitimately, not like, well, hey, that guy that says like I can do this for you for cheaper than what even the licenses cost. No. Or if you want to go the traditional route, C Corp, Delaware, you know, I, right now, my heart, my chest, not my heart, my chest says not to incorporate Web3 businesses in the United States, unfortunately. Um, will that change? Can you move your company? Can you add another part of your company in the United States when regulation, when it's set? Yes, do that. But you can have your company based elsewhere and operate in the United States. Or in Greece with work with Michael Turpin and Joyce Chow. The UAE in the free zones, I work with the Virtue Zone and the DMCC. One of the fun things that I do is, or used to do, ghostwrite. I create the worst how-to videos on the face of the planet, and I do that for a reason. I do that because I wanted to make it look exactly like what the person is going to be doing it looks like. So if we have an error, I want someone to see what that error looks like. But ghostwriting was fun, writing about projects and stuff like that. Knowing people that do storylines and create, uh, history and lore, I think is pretty cool. We used to work with a bunch of SEO and copyright stuff. So getting publications out to Cointelegraph, BitNews, Today's Crypto, Bitcoin Magazine, or just brand marketing and SEO awareness. I take tasks when blue check marks on Twitter were earned, not bought. I guess you could say, for someone, it cost, I charged $3,000 over 3 months to get them their blue mark, because I would have to create a ton of SEO on the back end so that they're a searchable person, so that they have on the web history, of who they are and articles and pieces about them, so that they're searchable. And a lot of these marketing things, I bring into Web 2, from Web 2 to Web 3. And there's a lot of cool stuff coming up on-chain analytics and ad campaigns that are targeted to users' wallets. And we're seeing a lot of cool growth in that as well. There is also some cool stuff coming up in the media side of things and how that's coming out. Content creation. My pet project that I love to do is TacoBytes. The number one thing about this show that I say is that it's the best show you never heard of, because it's consistently inconsistent, but daily. Whether it is at 2 o'clock in the morning or 11:30 at night, depending on where you're at in the world, where it might be for me. And so it's sort of fun to have been doing this for this long and to continue doing it. I've been creating content since 2018. So to do one continuous thing, no matter what, even if it's 11:59 a.m., I am pressing start on that Twitter space by just a hair. And it's been really fun to do. One of the big things that we have coming up, is I'm going to be starting to change my format to interviewing more and more program founders and stuff like that, because that's something that I love to talk to and talk about tech. So we will be, and I've said this, I think I've been saying this now for a year and a half. We will be moving to a more scheduled format. Um, and so, this is what will, be really good for, I think, the show. But, we will always stay with our roots, which as soon as Twitter Spaces opened up, we ran away from Clubhouse. Um, and, we're now broadcasting across 9 channels. So I want to thank everyone that joins in and listens in. Monetizing is something that, content is fun to do for others, hard to do for yourself. um it's really weird. Do it all day as a job, but you won't do it for yourself. um and then, to top it off, we have a lot of fun with um partnerships in BD, event representation and guerrilla marketing. um these are the things that 0xDegens has done, and then partnerships across all lines of tech. um, and working with amazing projects, being that face that for a fact you're talking to real people. You need security audits, working with Certec, Hackin, Ottersec, real companies that are providing results. Halborn, you know um, on-ramping and off-ramping solutions, because this is important stuff. Banxa, Transact, Mercurio, working with dexes across all chain, multiple chains, working with the Uniswap team, working with, I work with StellaSwap, the largest dex in Polkadot. you know, um, that's, for me, Polkadot, was a really cool idea of a new home for everyone. you know and so, um and now, I keep a foot in Polkadot and like a foot in Solana and like a finger in Cosmos and a finger in Hedera, you know a pinky in, Cardano, Thorchain, Harmony. The list goes on. And so, really cool to have met so many amazing projects around these last couple of, this last decade that are still around. Running my own, but doing it as my own company, um, has been interesting. Um, and so, with that, you know, there I've seen where the services that I provide and the services that are wanted. Um, and as we get ready for the bull run, are you going to have 1,000 little tokens in your wallet that you hope one of them strikes it, or are you going to double down on that one project or those 2 projects that are going to do it? Or you just, I guess I'm worried about having all my eggs in one basket. But where I've seen a demand for, a need, that I have experience with, that I'm good at. I helped raise over $110 million last year. So, from that aspect, if this is something I'm good at and this is something that's needed, why don't we double down on that? So, with 2024, I'm going to be spending, 3 weeks in December retooling everything, refiguring things out, um, you know, and working to aim towards 2 things: media, you know, and fundraising. you know. Um, and so I think that will be one of the, eyes on project type of thing. Um, I think that will be one of the funnest things that be able to do. Um, how that lines up, how that plays out, I'm not sure yet. Who knows? Tokenomics might be the thing of the meta of 2024, and I'm pivoting too late. But I think that's one of those things. And one of the things that I think I'm going to change, is price structure. Um, I've always been in competition with people that I think, have drawn a lot of eyes and stuff like that, to where they charge 70 grand for 5 minutes of their time. And I'm like, well, I'm 25K for 3 months of my complete attention, or 75% of my attention for 3 months. And the ROI, people initially will look at that and they're like, well, I'm getting less for more, so this must have more value. And then at the same time, it is what it is. So with that, I think I'm going to be structuring it a lot differently. It might be less money in my pocket, in my company's pocket, but I think it will be better for startups. I think it will be better for new companies coming along. And will really help drive down what a template pipeline can be on that, to where it's a very easy system for projects, and with a lot of results, because that's what we want. We want results. We want to help people grow, and so I think that will be. I think that's what we will be doing in 2024, and how we will be pivoting. TacoBytes is always going to happen. TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen. We're going to have another 366 episodes in 2024. And so this is going to be a really fun year. And I think this is how we're going to have the rest of this month. This month is going to be a little bits of bites of reflections of the past years, this past year, the ups and downs, the wins, the losses. But I think it's going to be a really great track, because really seeing a lot of new builders that are coming out of the woodwork, starting to come out of the woodwork, which, I see the signals of projects getting ready to take off. And, it's sort of amazing. So with that, I want to say thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight on tonight's episode of TacoBytes, your daily bite of Degen. And we're going to end the episode the same way we have ended 468 episodes, with our two things, our words of wisdom and the best worst knock knock joke on the face of the planet. And so our words of wisdom are always the same. A closed mouth cannot be fed, and you cannot feed a closed mouth, meaning if no one knows you're looking for opportunity can never come a knocking. If opportunity does come a knocking and no one answers, keep on walking. The tip for tonight, look at Jungle Coin, Jungle Token on Solana. It's fully spelt out. There's a lot of different ones have popped up to try to copy it, but look for Jungle. That's my advice for tonight. I bought $10 of it. So, that's $9 more than I normally buy on shit coins. So, yeah, that's, I hope you all have a great night and had a great Thanksgiving. And with that, we end with the greatest worst knock knock joke on the face of the planet. Knock knock. Who's there?